You want to be part of the Justice League, there are better teachers than me. I'm not doing this with a teenager. Point taken.
Batman is a classic archetype of a great warrior who acts like he doesn't want to teach others, but will still begrudgingly end up helping them. Because he knows that if they don't get the proper teaching, that they'll end up getting themselves hurt, or worse. And we're going to look at the 5 best times that he has stepped in to teach and mentor other heroes. Batman Beyond. Now, there's a lot of mentor moments in this series. After all, the whole point is a passing of the torch story where Terry McGinnis becomes the new Batman. But one of the greatest moments happens in the origin story, where Terry has stolen the Batsuit to get vigilante justice on his father's killers, and Bruce is trying to stop him.
I want that suit back, and I want it now.
Now's not a good time.
But as Terry begs him to let him keep the Batsuit and carry on with his mission, Bruce hears echoes of his own trauma and the unresolved emotions he has about his own father's killer, and so he decides to help him get justice. And of course he says it's only going to be a one-off, but we all know there's going to be more. And in truth, it does kind of end up being revenge really, rather than justice. But sadly, that's the best you can do when you're dealing with corrupt billionaires. The truth is, they're beyond the reach of the justice system, which is why vigilantes exist in the first place. But Bruce recognising parts of himself in Terry is the beginning of him seeing Terry as a potential new Batman, which is integral to the series, and honestly, it's something that a lot of us thought Bruce Wayne would never be able to accept, that one day he must give up on his mission and let someone else carry on in his stead.
I accept nothing short of excellence from all who work for me.
I think I can handle it.
Very good then, Mr. McGinnis. Welcome to my world.
Now, my second favourite mentor moment in this series occurs when Terry makes a mistake. It's his first big mistake, and basically he trusts the wrong person and kind of ends up falling for a villain. Now, Terry's just broken up with his girlfriend, thanks to the new demands on his time from being a hero, and he ends up hooking up with a new girl.
What's wrong?
Nothing. It's just kind of quick, that's all.
And it turns out that she's a bad girl. Essentially, this is Terry's Selina Kyle, and though Bruce tries to warn him and stop him from making a mistake, the truth is sometimes you have to make a mistake in order to gain experience. And Bruce is actually pretty understanding about the whole thing, and he not only sympathises with Terry, but he almost consoles him at one point.
This kind of thing ever happen to you?
Let me tell you about a woman named Selina Kyle.
Now, it's not like Bruce to be forgiving or understanding. We all know how demanding a taskmaster he is. And it is a rare occasion when he lets a member of the Bat family off without a heavy lecture.
Live and learn, kid.
That's it? That's all you have to say to me?
I mean, essentially, Terry did fall in love with a villain and even tried to let her go at one point.
Don't do it. Just go.
But sadly, she came back to fight it some more, and so he couldn't let her go. And when you take all that into account, well, this in fact may actually be the closest that Batman has ever come to truly having a partner. After all, we all know how he feels about his other partners.
I thought we were partners.
We are, but we're not equals. Not even close.
And it is fair to say that most of his crime-fighting partners, well, really they're just sidekicks. It's why Dick Grayson had to move away from Gotham and become his own hero. There was no other way to escape Bruce's shadow. But with Terry McGinnis, there is actually a feeling that he may truly be partners with him. Now don't get me wrong, Bruce Wayne is still Bruce Wayne, so he is still demanding and domineering, but it's still a lot closer than the other Bat family members got to being treated like an equal.
None of the Robins ever complained.
Green Lantern. Now this is far from the typical Batman mentee, and he is definitely not a willing student. But like always, Batman doesn't ask for permission, he just takes the role of mentor with Green Lantern, right from the beginning and in pretty much every film they're in together in the new 52 film series. It starts in Justice League War, where almost everything Batman says to Green Lantern is a mentoring comment. Whether it's him teaching him that if he doesn't concentrate he can be outmaneuvered when he steals his ring.
No buttons. I assume it works off concentration.
How'd you do that?
You weren't concentrating.
Or when he coaches him on how to maintain his constructs.
Lantern, focus! You stop concentrating and that shield breaks apart.
But the ultimate mentor moment is when he gives his big speech to Green Lantern, teaching him to be an adult and, more importantly, showing him what he's capable of being, a competent leader. People are already ready to follow Green Lantern, he just needs to find the right things to say to rally them. And this is a huge turning point for Green Lantern, who up until now believed that he truly could do anything on his own. But Batman pointing out that his arm was broken, and he didn't even notice, and that the others will follow him into battle if he acts a little bit more mature, well, this is when he starts becoming a team player, when he realises that he can work with others, and that he kind of needs to work with others because they're fighting a literal god. And without this moment, there is no way the Justice League would have attacked together and blinded Darkseid like they did. It was Green Lantern who rallied them. Sure, he kind of screwed it up, I know they make a joke about that, but in truth, his efforts got them there. And this is all because Batman took the time to teach him how. And this is also the first time, or the closest time, that the two of them actually come to bonding with one another. Until now, Lantern kind of hated Batman, but this is the moment when you can see his respect for Batman beginning to bloom. Well, sort of. I mean, in the next film, Green Lantern is annoyed as hell that Batman didn't show up like the others did for a meeting.
What, the Bat's too good for us now?
It's Batman. He doesn't answer hails.
Yeah, if I have to be here, so does he.
And so he goes to get Batman, and thinks he can show him up a little bit by catching the bad guys before Batman does. But Batman didn't want to catch them. He wanted to scare them into giving him information. He was putting on a bit of a show. And so Batman decides to give Green Lantern a dressing down in the form of a lecture. Lets him know that next time he wants to help him, don't. And later in this film, the Atlanteans are attacking the surface, and Batman decides to, once again, take the time to coach him. Batman teaches him that you don't always need an army to defeat an army. Sometimes having the right intel and evidence can turn the tide in an instance. And by playing back a hologram of Orm confessing to killing the Queen of Atlantis, they turn his own army against him, and end up putting Aquaman on the throne. And there are other moments, of course, but these ones I think are the best. And the true beauty of this relationship is that Green Lantern really hates it, but he also really needs it. And he eventually realises that Batman is right, and so he has to go along with what he says, which is pretty much what everyone realises in the end. The Batman. Now, I haven't mentioned much on the Robins in this video so far, but this is probably my favourite mentor moment that Batman ever had with them. In the show The Batman, they introduced Batgirl first, and she was very much separate from Batman, and he kept trying to convince her not to be a hero.
Let me make myself clear. There's no room for a Batgirl in Gotham.
He refused to work with her at all, and this went on for a long time, with Batman desperately trying not to involve a child in his crusade. He genuinely wanted her to stop being a hero. But all of this changed when Dick Grayson was introduced and adopted by Batman.
I've been thinking, Dick. I'm not sure Bruce Wayne has what it takes to raise you properly.
But if not Bruce Wayne, what about the Batman?
And Batman realised that not only could he not stop Dick Grayson from getting justice for his murdered parents, but that he shouldn't stop him from getting justice. It's quite simple. Children should not be fighting crime. Period. But at the same time, children also shouldn't have to watch their parents being murdered. And when someone goes through trauma that extreme, it changes them. And it's not easy to go back into the fold of normalcy. And for people like Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, it's simply impossible. And it takes time, and it takes seeing his own pain played out in Dick Grayson's life for Batman to truly understand this. But eventually he does. And he realises that sometimes when a person's story is changed, it can't be changed back. And they need to bring criminals to justice in order to cope with what's happened to them. They just do. It's rare, don't get me wrong, I don't know any examples in real life, but in these people's lives, that's what happened. And in this episode, Batman finally accepts the responsibility for being Batgirl's mentor, and he takes her under his wing properly. And he brings her to the Batcave for the first time, and he even shares his secret identity. And it's a beautiful moment. The team is finally all working together. And not only do they work well, but it's great to see Batgirl finally have her hero be her mentor. It was a well-written and well-built-up bit of storytelling, which is quite rare in media, let's be honest. And I genuinely think that they give us a believable way of explaining why Batman lets kids work with him, which is always difficult to justify. Now, there are of course more mentor moments that follow this one, but I think this is the purest of them all, and it's the one I'm going to choose for this entire show as the best mentor moment. Blue Beetle. Now, Batman was teammates and friends with the Ted Kord version of Blue Beetle. And so, when the Scarab found its way to Jaime Reyes, making him the next Blue Beetle, Batman kinda took him under his wing.
This is like a dream come true! Partners with Batman!
We're not partners. Not yet, at least.
I know. You teach, I learn.
And in the Batman the Brave and the Bold universe, he took him out on missions that were supposed to not be too tricky, so that he could guide him towards being a great hero. Basically, the introduction stuff to toughen him up and get him used to it. And this worked fantastically. In fact, it might have worked a little bit too well, as Blue Beetle's successes went to his head and made him arrogant.
When I said this job was about using your head, I didn't mean for it to go to your head.
So much so that at one point he overestimates his own abilities and he ends up losing his powers in a battle with Kanjor Row. Although fortunately Batman was there to help him get them back. And then when Batman started letting him go on solo missions, he used to lurk in the shadows and spy on him to make sure that everything was going okay. And while spying is not very ethical, it does show that Batman cares. And it's not that he didn't trust Blue Beetle, it's that he did trust him, but wanted to make sure that he was safe and not going to be killed in the battle. Or at least that's how he justifies this stalker-like behaviour in his own mind. But in any case, Jaime appreciates Batman's training and guidance, and he even grows to depend on Batman's counsel, and Batman is the first person he goes to when he needs advice.
I'm kind of in the middle of something here.
Dr. Polaris, come on. You can take care of this guy in 2 seconds. You just exercise.
And although their relationship is not quite father-son, there is a certain sort of protectiveness Batman has. So much so that he tried to protect Blue Beetle from learning the fate of his predecessor, which was of course death at the machinations of a villain.
Ted didn't make it?
I wasn't sure you were ready to know about this. Our work is dangerous, and not all hero stories have happy endings.
Whether this was right or wrong, I don't know. But this show does have a lot of moments that show Batman training Blue Beetle, and Blue Beetle truly becoming a better hero because of it.
Take this mission. I wanted to see if the kid had hero potential. Instead, I got to see him become one.
Young Justice. Now, Batman's approach in Young Justice is actually quite different to most of his teaching methods. Usually he's more of a hands-on teacher, he likes to lead by example. But in this show, he seems to want the young heroes to figure out the answers for themselves. He just nudges them in the right direction and then judges how they did.
You'll each receive a written evaluation detailing your many mistakes.
And this means the Batman doesn't just give them answers or even offer solutions, such as the moment when he tells Aqualad to decide if he wants to lead the team or if he wants to go back to Atlantis.
You can split your time between the surface and the sea, but not your mind. Either you're here 100% or you need to walk away.
And Batman offers no judgment in this, and he offers him no advice either. He leaves it up to Aqualad to make the right decision for himself. After all, he is the one who has to live with that decision, so he is best qualified to make it. And I don't know if he does this style because they're all teenagers, and he's helping them to take more responsibility as they become adults, or if it's simply because he knows they won't listen to him if he just tells them what to do. They are a rebellious group at a rebellious age, after all.
End results aside, we are not happy. You will not be doing this again.
I am sorry, but we will.
But in any case, his mentoring is more hands-off than it usually is, and he lets them work out what is the right thing to do for themselves, even allowing the group to pick their own team leader.
How you adjust to the unforeseen is what determines success, and how you choose who leads determines character.
And all of this allows for them to grow both as heroes and people, and they learn how to improve themselves with his guidance. In fact, it's quite likely that he's mentoring them this way because there are so many on the team, not to mention the fact there are other heroes to chip in, of course. But Batman is kind of in charge of the team, so he's also kind of in charge of teaching them all. And the fact of the matter is, he can't be one-on-one all the time. So he adapts and he uses a teaching method that gives all of them more freedom. And of course, they are the next generation of heroes, so they need to learn how to run a team and make decisions for themselves anyway. Otherwise, there is no hope for the future of crime fighting. I mean, they are basically the next generation of the Justice League, so if they can't figure it out, the world's pretty screwed. And those are the best mentor moments of Batman. Now, I've purposefully tried to avoid the Robins in this list as much as possible, as I wanted to look at his broader influence with the hero community. Though I may do a Mentor of Robins vid later on if people want, let me know in the comments. But feel free to let us know what you think of this list, along with whatever your favourite Batman mentor moment is. And I'd just like to quickly remind everyone that we have some merchandise available on our store, and to say thanks to all of you who have donated to the Needle Mouse Productions page on Patreon. And as always, thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe, share, like, and comment.